January the 14th, day 58 of the Wargame Cup. We're only in round 5, and the end is just not in sight. We're only halfway through the tournament. Today we have an exciting match, but I dare not speak either name.
But I will. Hi, my name is Troublemaker. This is the Wargame Cup. We have a NATO versus pact match. Fairly exciting. We have on the NATO side Olivarius, and on the pact side we have Koma Ramy. And both these players are actually pretty good, which means this will probably be a very good match. Of course, Olivarius has had a fairly hard time in this tournament. He's had to go through a fair amount of skillful players, and he's one of these guys who's had enough time to really work on his craft, get very good at the game, and he's been developing tactics on his own. I haven't seen him with too many practice partners. All the while, Koma Ramy is kind of a household name. He's been one of these guys who's kind of played a little bit standard, but at the same time he's had his own style. And we're seeing from Koma Ramy there can be an eastern flank here, composed lots of infantry, a few of these cheap T-55 tanks, and a nice number of flamethrower tanks. And he has 2 commands on the map, I believe. Where's the other command? Oh, there it is. Yes, he's going for some kind of 2-command strategy. Looks like he'll be playing pretty safe. The relative position of this command number indicates he'll probably keep one command number here, meaning the other one will no doubt be rushing for either the hotel location or the India location. And yeah, not too many anti-tank weapons so far. Just this UAZ, which is a relatively cheapy unit. All the while from Olivarius, we're seeing a lot of the same stuff. Lots of tank destroyers. NATO loves those tank destroyers. A small squadron of helicopters. He's got interesting setup. Most people kind of group them together. He's actually got them split apart, which means that he'll be doing a fair amount of micro here. And actually, pretty much everything's kind of split and organized. So he's probably done something very practiced with this. This army makes me think that there's going to be some kind of push in one direction to secure a flank with a little bit of spreading, and this makes me think that Koma Ramy is also going to do the same. Maybe try and floor these units across the bridge and either make sure Gulf is not takeable, which is smart, or flank around for Charlie. Lots of great options here. It's one of the good things of this map. It's one that definitely favors action. A lot of players have been getting eliminated from the tower, from the tournament, from a total lack of action. And so here we go. Koma Ramy swinging around, and we see up front we have a nice little spread from Olivarius, being very cautious with units. He actually moved the recon helicopter ahead just to make sure there's nothing coming. It's very opportune to actually maintain someone in the woods here or in the town here, because you can trade very effectively, get some early wins on the go. And Koma Ramy being very good with his recon. He spots a little bit. He sees some relative positions. You don't want to get too frisky with these recons. Just get a glimpse of where things are going, and then you can get it from here. Will he spot the M113s? This is kind of key. They're anti-infantry, and here we go. In fact, we'll see them, and he's got to do a little bit of pullback. I find that, generally speaking, people tend to lose their recons. They don't see them as being valuable, and they're very fragile. They are mobile, but at some point in the game, you just have to make them sit in position because there's going to be so much anti-aircraft. Oh, I seem to get a text message. But we see 4 infantries. Is that 4? Am I good at counting? I am great at counting, in fact. I'm going to come across the bridge. Not really going to time up so well with these armored personnel carriers. And what he's going to do with these is questionable. Koma Ramy does in fact see them, so he's good. Olivarius doesn't so much see stuff. And looks like these infantry will be crushed. And speaking of the devil, an actual attempt at maintaining these buildings here, but Koma Ramy already has some elements in here. It looks like they're going to clean up these shots relatively easily. And in fact, the large quantity of TO-55 flamethrower tanks will deal with these infantry. Looks like one might actually get away though. It's not too threatening, it's just very annoying. And here comes some infantry carriers. Ooh, Olivarius starting off very, very poor. Hasn't gotten a single flight of damage yet. And all the while we have Koma Ramy trading insanely effectively, just gunning down these squads. Early lead, early win goes to Koma Ramy. Fairly failed attack. And I can even see what he was trying to do, and you can actually even see the elements here. He's actually trying to get infantry around into these wood locations and secure roads to allow him to do a nice bit of damage. And in fact, we see Olivarius is going to take this close golf location, and he's also taken the very far away alpha location, which is interesting. And note, this is a flying command, so it can just fly right out of there. No biggie. Looks like this single anti-tank weapon's actually gun down these vehicles here. Very, very good placements, very good play here by Komaromi. TO-55 doesn't want to get gunned down. You're going to just try and do any kind of morale damage it can. Looking at the positions that Komaromi is taking, he's taking the Foxtrot, which is very, very safe. And he's also taken Hotel, which is a nice little three-pointer. So initially, Olivarius is actually having a fairly sizable resource lead, and he's going to be able to throw away a few extra units more than Komaromi is. And so Komaromi will have to trade very cost effectively, and he is. He's got a small group of forces coming in. This is actually very expected that he would do this, and actually he's going to go for middle. Will he turn around? Hard to say. But yeah, it looks like he's going to go for a nice little middle rush, try to wipe out the forces along the middle, and he might actually go for middle himself. But here comes some helicopters, and this is a really, really great use of helicopters. This map is very helicopter friendly because of the big giant open areas, and now the helicopters can be able to just relatively well tear apart these infantries and cause a lot of hardship here for Komaromi, who, in haste to get this push going, didn't really bring any anti-air. So a nice few free kills. He's going for these tanks. I'm not sure exactly why he's going for that. And yeah, more gazelles are coming in. Here comes a tank destroyer from the back. Actually can get the TO-55. Good snag. TO-55s, of course, are well worth killing, especially when you're very infantry heavy. And Komaromi's going to sit. He's got a single strop. However, there is an AML Lynx covering the bridge location. Ooh, the range is good. It gets one helicopter down. Will he venture across the bridge and risk getting the second one? And Olivarius, seeing the aircraft, pulls back just in time. A recon actually coming up for Olivarius. Will he be able to spot the strop? He can. The strop, however, is running away because apparently Komaromi knows this is coming. And AML Lynx starts winding up, gets a few pot shots off. It's going to hit from the rear and kind of encapsulate this army. This army cannot go anywhere. Very, very good surround here for Olivarius. Kind of making good of a bad situation. He's bringing the anti-infantry vehicles to try and deal with these infantry. Looks like he's getting a bit too close. This one's low morale damage. The TO-55 is going to finish him. And this tank destroyer should be able to eliminate a lot of the stuff here. He's just got to slowly pitter-patter it this away. Can't be doing too hasty of moves. And, you know, the Lynx is a pretty much a little awesome tank. I wish they had a shader choice. Like, I think you should be able to make your tanks hot pink. And I think that should be available in next version of the game. Just have custom designs on your vehicles. Just saying, like, if I want to have like a sexy lady paste on the side, I should be able to do that. That should be within my power. And he's gotten rid of all but the single T-55. He's got some vehicles coming around the side here, and might be running into a trap. And he is. He will lose this vehicle. Small loss. Komaromi still trading very effectively, though. After all this is destroyed, they should be close to even. And speaking of which, looks like we have a small failed little rush here. TO-55 picks it off, kills it with relative ease. And looks like Komaromi has actually got a third command in play. He's taken the central location. And he's definitely not a player who isn't afraid to play macro. We have some T-55s hitting the poor tank destroyer from the side. This is not a good situation. Generally speaking, most of the vehicles in this game, especially the tanks, are very, very poor side defenders. And actually, it's still kind of alive. It's moving a little slow, though. Probably has something to do with the fact that it's on fire. And, yeah. It also has a gearbox hit. I think gears have something to do with driving. Yager dropped in the woods. Will get the Scott for free. The Scott had no weapons, so it wasn't really a particularly viable target. Just one of these good soakers. A VAB picked off by Koma Ramy. probably an attempt here by to do a reinforcement block. And with someone like Komaromi, you have to actually do a pretty sizable block. You're going to need to bring a lot of forces, and just the way Komaromi has this all covered with these Scots, using these Scots, these empty no-gun carriers, he's going to be able to spot it very, very well. So that's kind of, if you want to get really far into the tournament, that's the kind of things you have to think about. What do I do with all these useless vehicles? All the while, we have Komaromi brings in a BTR 60 Pi, not going to unload for some reason. There we go, just in time. Just as the brunt of the damage is getting done, the M113 is getting routed. The augers are empty on their rockets. I'm not going to be able to deal with this BTR 60 Pi fully, and actually going to get pushed completely out of the woods. And interesting little Scott position here. I wonder. So Olivarius knows it's here. Is that true? No, he doesn't. And this is something that you would know from practice. This weird little stretch here cannot be scouted from these woods, and that's just something that you'd have to figure out. And I saw actually Tiga do something like this, in which he actually had 3 full infantry deployed around this bank area, in which they were completely ignored by this location. Just something very smart you have to get. You have to practice that. You have to figure that on your own, and that just kind of shows you the veterancy of a player like Komaromi. He knows that. He knows that if he can put a Scot here, it's not going to get touched unless something moves up. If something moves up, he can move up the appropriate counters to deal with that attack. The fact that he's got so many bases right now is going to favor very, very well for a pretty late game tactic. And right now you can see what he's doing is he's just slowly trying to remove the remainder of the scary forces here of Olivarius from this location. Oh god, he's so good with this Scott use. It's just a useless unit that doesn't do anything, and he's making very, very good on that. All the while, not too much happening. This force is still stuck, basically, and why it's even still here is kind of questionable. Probably have to retreat these tank destroyers. This is a very good flank for Olivarius to really attack, and actually Komaromi, flexing some muscle here, actually pushed into the center location, now secured this bridge from the other side, and is going to be able to continue pushing up. And it's just going to be a slow creep, it looks like. You can just slowly creep over the bridge, slowly isolate the forces, and you can actually kind of see, we'll just pause for a second here. There are, and this is something you have to think about when you're playing the game, as you're playing the game. This point here is very, very isolated. In order to defend this, you need a lot of units. This point here, very isolated, very far away. It's a reinforcement point. So if you can cut through the middle, you're going to break the line of reinforcement between the 2 points. That means this here will be very destroyable. This here will get reinforced quite a bit. That means that at some point there will be a weak spot that will form, and by just running through the middle here, just slowly gaining ground, and it's a lot of open field as well. So Komaromi with the superior income is going to do very, very well to actually just strike on through. Slowly making some moves, and here comes some Zalos. This is where we're talking about big open ground. You can push these Zalos forward and just snake kill things. Very, very good. A lot of the players we've been seeing up to this point haven't really been taking advantage of this big open field, and that's largely has to do with positioning. Ooh, AMX 32 is not in the front. No. One gets killed, but Zalo gets killed as well. He's going to push this 32 forward. Nope, looks like a retreat. Good on him. And I mean, at some point, Olivarius is going to have to engage this. He has to engage this in a major way. And right now he's doing band-aid service, which basically means that he's killing small things whenever he can, but really he needs to have a big force to break this. If he can break this, he can survive. If he can survive, he can win. Right now, if he cannot break this, if this is able to hit this road right here, this is a very key road that has to be defended. This is the reinforcement point between the 2 bases. That whole stretch has to be reinforced. If Komaromi is able to gain any ground on this road, that's going to be game over. That will end it. And so we'll have to see Komarami's got some of these Conquerors up, some of these nice rockets. Going to strike big kills here. They have an insanely high range on them. I believe it's something like 2,500 meters. So they do insanely well. And I heard the gunfire, but there's no gunfire. Oh, here it is. In the woods. Just some jungling. Not too shabby. And Komaromi also has a very good idea of how these units work. He's only really using these infantry in these woods locations. He's using them to secure the woods so that infantry cannot kill off his units. He's using Conquerors. He's using Zalos to deal with tanks. He's got anti-aircraft to be able to deal with helicopters. He's got recons in odd locations where he has no vision. Very good. He's got one artillery unit, and this is something I can't preach enough. One artillery unit is great. One artillery unit can do some crazy stuff. It can stun, it can change the tide of a battle, so much. Now, there is a crazy flank here by Olivarius, and looking at the vision, it appears that Komaromi does not see it. Oh, it's been spotted, and very good position. This topaz paying off. Great position, and here comes a crazy flank in. Command armor is pretty deep in the woods. He's going to have to go through quite a few infantry. A tank getting pulled away from... It looked like it was going to go for the front lines. The tank could change the tide of the battle. The VABs are going to push forward. Chasseurs in the distance shooting off some rockets. And will they get dropped on top of the tank? It looks like they will. Chasseurs can be able to do a lot more. And this could actually be one of these game breakers. If Olivarius can make this work, he can survive much longer and trade very effectively with this. Infantry are great units for close counter battles, and that's exactly what's happening. Looks like he's got some pretty significant gains, 200 points worth there. Looks like everything's kind of rooting and breaking up. He's going to lose a lot as well. And here comes another push here from Komaromi. And he's actually going to go for this crazy alpha base, which is now very isolated. Komaromi knows this. Anything he can break here will have to be reinforced later. It's a great meta strategy. So he's killed off, 100 points worth of units there. 100 points worth of units there have to be reinforced. That means he'll have to use this road. And guess what? There's a Zalo and a Conquerors in position to intercept. Kinda scary. Komaromi will have about a 300 point lead, maybe 350, when he cleans up all these chasseurs. And as a note of embarrassment, a Prizik Igla, your anti-aircraft infantry, will be wiping out these chasseur squads. And some of a pull back from Komaromi? Or a reposition? It's hard to say. All the while, he's actually, there were some infantry in the woods here. They've been cleaned out by these Dana, the infantry, which I was praising earlier, and there's very specific reason I was praising them. Basically, a lot of people seem to think that if you get like 500 artillery, you can win the game. Artillery are like your lucky win. It does okay, but it's not a great prize here. Oh, the embarrassment. They do fairly high amount of damage. They do splash damage. They do very good on closed maps. But on a map like this, the generic purpose of the artillery is going to be twofold. One, you'll want them to dust ahead. Go for some lucky stuns. If an enemy unit gets stunned in position, it's in a lot of trouble. Note the VAB squad looks like it hasn't been spotted. No, it has. It's going off these Zalos. Are they low? What's the Conquerors? Are they low? No, they're not. They should be attacking these. When something gets randomly stunned, that's like a 300 points. If you have early game, like before the 25-minute marker artillery, and just the one pays off very easily. It makes it very hard for the opponent to push you because he won't be able to use infantry. Infantry gets smoshed. I'm going to invent that word, smoshed. It's kind of like smashed with smosh. Very easily. Just using a single unit here, not peeling off too many units to deal with this, not over-investing. A lot of players like to over-invest, and my computer's going to crap, so let's see if I can fix this real quick. Alright, that seems to have fixed things. La 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 la. Alright, good, we're back on. Everything's turned off. So I think it's going to take a pretty major move here from Olivarius to get back in this. He has to make up about 200 points now. And this VAB is going to come in and might be able to do some pretty good damage against this Moto Strelki. The 4 chasseurs are coming in from behind. These realistically should have come in together. If he can get the chasseurs into this location here, he might be good. It does provide excellent cover. And realistically, this map is looking still pretty balanced. There's still a lot of units for both players. Clearly, Komaromi has a better position. He has more units, indicated by the fact that he has an extra sliver. But both players are still in this. It's still anyone's game. I mean, the only reason why I would suspect that Komaromi has this is because he's a higher rated player. And, you know, we've had a lot of shockers in the tournament. Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing at all. So, looks like a few artillery barrages. Looks like Komaromi's actually gained, 5 Danas. Really spending those big bucks on crap. Big stun, however, on the command number. He needs to get a supply truck here to actually re-health that thing up before he loses it just to random damage. And in fact, the chasseurs will get pushed back to this nice secure location, this little bunker location. I would just sit them here. That's a good spot for them. And from, what kind of artillery do you have here? Ofis, of course Ofis, and some mortar carriers. Actually a lot. Each of them have about 5 artillery units. All the while, other things are not getting supplied. Like the tank destroyer, which I consider to be more important right now than the Ophi, because the tank destroyer can get some definite kills. It can actually kill like both these anti-aircraft units. This Scott with no ammunition can kill that. And I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to make this position harder to keep. I understand that, but he's got priorities, and it's only cost like 15 points to refuel this shit. And here we go. Instead of refueling stuff, he's going for a big infantry rush. This could be his last hurrah. That Komarami's just been so good at just these small pickups. Just moves like a couple units and just kills stuff. And that's actually a pretty serious skill in this game. What do you do with your Jupiters when you have them empty? Well, you just make them into a pile. You set them there. You hope the enemy doesn't find them. Fern Spear finally getting pushed away. This was a very key scout for the entire game for Olivarius. He's needed this for spotting for this tank destroyer. And here comes a giant cluster of infantry. It appears that the command armor for Komaromi is actually going to go into open retreat. And TO-55s will completely cut up these Fusiliers. Moto Strelki are coming into buffer. And here comes another Topaz group that might do a lot of damage. He's now currently in the middle, the mouth of the beast, and he's not trading all that effectively. Artillery fires push the medical location. He's going to have to run right into this giant group of infantry and TO-55s, and he should be bombarding this with artillery. When you have so much artillery, you should at least, and here it comes. Artillery pounds, and then you push in. And that's how it works. All the while, he's making some pretty big gains here. Komaromi is still about 200 points ahead, though, and that's kind of problematic. And simultaneously, Komaromi is actually going to push onto this base again. Small hits, artillery fire pounding that area, and in fact, we see my computer slowing it down again. Probably the madness. He's actually going to use a supply truck to kill stuff. That's kind of interesting. A little bit interesting to me. He's about trading evenly right now, which is not good, considering he's been about 200 points behind the game. He's playing very, very well right now, but the 200 points that he kind of gave at the beginning of the game has hurt him quite a bit. For the next potential tournament, he will have to probably rethink his blitz strategy against a player like Komaromi. Although I think the next tournament will be air-land battles, and I believe they're creating a whole new map pack because the game will change very significantly if you were to deploy aircraft, as far as I know. AMX-32 will get routed and get killed. Thank you, artillery support. And so now we're going to see a lot of artillery stuff. Lots of shelling at the central location. If he can destroy stuff, that would be great for him. He's got now 300 points to gain. He's got 7 minutes. So, part of me thinks that this will just end with helicopters. Is that helicopters right there? Yes, it is. Helicopters and infantry vehicles have some great synergy, but the Igla, which has not been touched or used the entire game, winds up, kills off one of the helicopters, and now the last-minute play of Olivarius will go down. Komaromi going to move his commander back into a hotel. I would actually just run them all away. because this is a desperate man, and a hungry man is very desperate. And I would just not even have my command armors in the logical spots. I would just turtle him into a woods location with lots of AA. Koma Ramy has gotten some gunship helicopters to deal with the potential threat of an all-in. And what's he going to rally out? Supply trucks, interestingly enough. I've never heard of a supply truck all-in. Looks like he's going to finally refuel some of these vehicles. Doesn't appear he's going to be able to do it. This is pretty much going to be Olivarius tapping out. He's got 5 minutes to get about 400 points. What he realistically needs at this point is some Hail Mary action. He needs to get some massive amounts of helicopters, probably, you know, like 16 to 20, and then just go for some command kills. I mean, yeah, Koma Ramy does have some A, but I don't think he has enough. You look at this location, he has like the 2 helicopters. That's not going to deal with it. There is an Igla over there. That's fine. Over here, you can see that he's got the Tunguska. That's actually a really good anti-air, but that's it. Just the Tunguska. He's actually going to pull the command armors from the middle location. Guess he just doesn't want to risk it. Just sneak 1 command armor away. He can throw away 400 points worth. He just can't lose the command armors. He loses the command armors, it's over. And yeah, I think this is it. I don't know, my game's kind of pooping on me, so I mean, I'm gonna have to play around with my machine a little bit. My sound card is crap, and it just ruins my life. Also, my power supply is not sufficient anymore. Also ruins my life. No, I think this is pretty much over. Maybe I'll just fix that problem again. Close more programs. All the while, I just don't see anything happening here. I wish I could leave with a bang, like, you know, Olivarius tried and failed, but it looks like he's probably not even going to try. Kind of scary. And he could tap out right now, but he's not going to. Both command armors actually getting pulled here by Koma Ramy. Just into nice safe locations. Doesn't have to risk anything right now. He's kind of already won the game of life. And it's really just a waiting game. How long will it take for Olivarius to really decide whether he's going to continue or not? He just doesn't have anything. He doesn't have any Hail Mary units. He's resupplying units that should have been resupplied a long time ago. Actually, he's using the supply on artillery instead of on tank destroyers. So he can't even Hail Mary. He's kind of just staying in here hoping that artillery hits something lucky. And yeah, that works sometimes, but I mean, this is playing against a 2000 rated player. Like, this is not going to work. And, you know, Koma Ramy just has everything kind of secured. We'll just fade to a black background, maybe something. 2 minutes left. I don't see a Hail Mary coming. It's just not coming. Olivarius started off not too bad, but has kind of slowly fallen. I mean, Koma Ramy actually moving a Zalo up to try and snipe some more units. He's been actually very good with using small groups units to kill small groups units, and that's like a really odd tactic to really brag about, but that's something that he's been doing very, very well. In fact, he's going to use these Scots, which all are about worth 10 points each, maybe, as spotters, and the Zalo will kill stuff. Weird play. Could also be a fake infantry rush. I don't know what he's going to do with these things. And that's always kind of funny. Like, if you throw a bunch of Scots at people and destroy all the Scots, you can kind of do like a fake-ish rush, whereas they think they're winning so much more than they are, and then they counterattack. A smarter player can look at the score and go like, oh, they were empty. But at this time, it's just like fake pressure you can put on. They're traveling with the Zalo, so it's clearly going to get used to buffer damage, as the only unit here that is attacking is the Zalo and this infantry. That's it. And that's actually the game. Started off pretty exciting, ended kind of lame. 2200. Oh, sorry, Koma Ramy. Rated player. Olivarius doing very well. The CPC guild, in fact, has been doing very well the entire tournament. Maybe next year with Airland Battle. We'll see. Koma Ramy round 6. Hadouken!